All right, y'all, welcome to Here's My Thing podcast, where we not only do breakdowns of movies, TV shows, and everything in between, but we also talk relationships and married stuff because we're a married couple. So let's get into Servant Season 4, Episode 6, The Zoo. We're going to recap, break down, and do our own review. The zoo opens with a sinkhole on Spruce Street and the potential of an evacuation order or a potential earthquake supposedly causes massive sinkhole that runs from the Turner's house all the way throughout the neighborhood. And we know it's not an earthquake. We know it's Leanne and her powers. And but there's a potential for an evacuation order. And you know what that means? That gives the cult an in. But let's move on. Then we kind of pan into Dorothy's room, where Dorothy's awoken by Leanne for Jericho's 1.5-year-old birthday party, which is very odd. You can see the tension based on the wheelchair being slammed against Dorothy's bed, where Leanne says the party's going to happen with or without you, because you know Dorothy doesn't want to do anything to do with Leanne. She set her up last week trying to get her killed and removed from the household from the cult. So we get to the party in the backyard. The party has random strangers from the community with their children and along with the Turner family. Dorothy's dad and others, they don't really care for the party. They seem uninterested because the party's invitation were sent out a day prior. So everything feels a little rushed. Everyone's there and they don't feel like being there. There's a bunch of zoo animals. It seems like a reasonable party, a kind of party that Dorothy would have thrown, but she didn't, and everyone thinks it's just so odd to have a 1.5-year birthday party. Some of the cult members were at this party, 3 of who corners Leanne when she goes up into the Turner house. They try to take her out, but Leanne overtakes them. This is the first time where we see Leanne has control over children. We know she does have an ability to sort of bring the dead back. She did this with Julian. She may have done it with Jericho. We still haven't unwrapped that, but we know for sure she has some kind of power and control. She tells the baby to be quiet. She tells the baby, like, to stop crying, and it just does. And if you know anything about babies, they just don't work that way. At this time, Leanne calls her team to clean up the bodies. In the episode, Julian reminds Dorothy that Leanne is desperate for her family. She feels like she belongs, and he's urging Dorothy to just give Leanne a shot and understand her a little bit more. We see throughout the episode, Leanne's presence is causing the animals to get a bit rowdy. One goat is breaking a glass to enter the house. A snake is hissing at her. A dog even bites her towards the climax of the episode. And the dog is from the Dorothy character, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, which is so interesting because that's Dorothy's name, and supposedly this is Dorothy's favorite movie. And the dog bites Leanne, and that actually brings us to the climax of after Leanne's attack, one of Dorothy's nurse, Beth, she takes Leanne to the basement under the guise of treating her dog bite. Leanne trusts her and vents to her that she just wanted to do something nice for her family, but is instead drugged by that same nurse who happens to be a cult member. She then does the ritual, she plays the music, she whips her back, and she gets that dagger. Upstairs, Julian and Sean are mid-fight, but they realize there's heavy smoke, and Julian takes off to the basement. Sean tries to stop him. He does not want Julian to help him. Again, they were blaming each other. They were blaming each other for Jericho's death, which actually caused a fight. So he's just like, listen, I don't want you to stop the cult members from doing what they need to do. But Julian heads down to the basement. He gets there. He smacks a dagger out of the nurse's hand and watches as the nurse die. And Leanne stares at that nurse intently. He stares back at Leanne. He's trying to understand what's going on. The nurse collapses to the floor. What seems like her tongue may be swollen is like poking out of her mouth. It's hard to really understand what's coming out of her mouth. The best thing we have is it might be her tongue is swelling up and she's just burning from the inside out. At this point, Leanne is laughing maniacally. And then Sean discovers that the nurse is dead, and Sean's staring at her, and Leanne is just laughing and laughing. And it's just clear that she has strong powers, and it really at this moment makes Julian very uncomfortable. Other nurse tells Dorothy that she has no idea that her friend Beth was a part of the cult, but warns Dorothy that Leanne is obsessed and won't let go of the family. And this kind of inspires Dorothy to look at pageant videos, makes her want to look at those videos, and she finds the right video and she plays the right spot in the video, and it was kind of like a perfect setup, and she sees Leanne, and the episode ends. So here's my thing. My ideas on Dorothy's character and how it's actually changed from season 1 into season 4 is that Dorothy is going from this kind of like, I'm in this psychosis where I don't understand what's going on. I'm seeing a doll as my real baby because I can't accept the death of my actual child, and then to now, I just want this girl at my house who's actually brought back a real life baby, and now I'm actually seeing this real baby as my baby. So it's a little confusing for me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Dorothy is forgetting a lot about what happened as we see in season 1 to this season. She is not realizing that she had a fake doll in the beginning, but she does notice when the doll turns fake or when Leanne is not there. So I think she's starting to have a reality check, and she's still not realizing that Leanne needs to be around for this baby to be alive. And you know, she's the victim, and but she's also the villain.
She's also a villain to me because she did take Leanne back from that family that Leanne was supposed to originally be with. And that caused a breakdown with that family. There was like a massive murder. We don't understand why that happened. But Leanne's presence being taken from that family caused there to be a breakdown. And Dorothy had Leanne locked in the attic. And Leanne, that's where Leanne's powers really grew. And so I think Dorothy's character arc is a little wonky for my liking.
Well, that's the reason why I feel she is the villain and the victim. She's the victim because you got to think about it. This is a lot to do with her mental health after her child died, and she basically created a world that did not exist. And then all of a sudden, she met Leanne, and Leanne made that fantasy come to a reality, not just to her, but to the people around her. But because she got her son back and things seem perfect again, now she forgets that she was in a state where she was confused and she couldn't remember things, and now she wants Leanne out the house as if Leanne is the problem, when actually Leanne is the reason why she's able to go. At one point I think she was trying to go back to work, and she was just at one point depressed, and now she's not. So, and with depression, sometimes you don't know why you're depressed. You just feel a certain way, and clearly she didn't realize that her child was dead because she blocked that memory out her mind. So Leanne is the key part of Dorothy's arc of going from mentally, broken to now she feels like she's in control of whatever's going on in her life, and she's obviously in delusion of her child being alive.
I think Leanne's character makes the most sense in The Servant. While we still don't understand much about how she has powers and much about her life before the cult, we just have like a basic understanding. And does she always have powers? We don't really know, and that's something they haven't revealed. But her character seems consistent. It started with her just having a real admiration for Dorothy and wanting to be her Dorothy's daughter because the way she lost a childhood being a part of the cult, and wanting to gift Dorothy back her baby. But then there was a little weirdness with her taking away Sean's ability because Sean was kind of mean to her. So we were able to see that she had some powers, but didn't really understand the capabilities of Leanne's powers. But when Leanne was taken back from the family, kind of kidnapped and brought into Dorothy's attic where she kind of like got the power, she no longer wanted to be with Dorothy and the Turners. She was okay doing her job of going to being assigned to these families, but then when they brought them back and she proved to her cult members like, hey, Dorothy and the Turners really care for me because they showed time and time again but truly they just cared for the fact that she brought Jericho with her. Now that she's there and she's away from the cult, she's like, listen, I'm not trying to go anywhere. This is where I'm staying. I'm not doing no any more cult things that isn't something that I am creating.
Yeah, I think I see Leanne in two ways. One, I see her as a symbol of, making a deal with the devil or be careful what you wish for, because there's consequences when you're trying to fix a wrong. But then I also see her as, a character to show that um, she can make things better. And then clearly she has some type of unanswered powers or abilities, or, this could be a trick for us to look at her in a way where she looks like she has powers, but it could just be things of a delusion because, clearly Jericho died. And now it's not just, um, the mother seeing Jericho alive and moving. Maybe it's all of the characters now. And maybe with Leanne not there, they finally see that the baby is not real. So there is some type of magic or some type of mystical element to her character that is not explained. But I also see her as like one of those morals of the story of like, you got to accept things for what they are, because when you don't, it can make things even worse.
Agreed. And I think my biggest question is, and this is something I'm looking forward to seeing revealed, will Julian lose his life at the end of this if Leanne is removed from the Turner household? Julian lose his life because Julian was brought back from the dead from Leanne, and so I kind of want to see that unravel.
Well,
What is
yeah.
something you're looking forward to?
I mean, the same. Not just Julian, but also Sean. Well, remember Sean's career was going downhill because he took a lot of guilt for not being there when his son died, and he wasn't, doing so well. He didn't have a show. He wasn't as successful as he is now. He was trying to get back into it, but he took time off so that he can make sure that his wife was good. Um, and so will Sean go back to being depressed, and will Sean go, lose his career and all the fame that he now has? And the same thing with Dorothy. What will happen with Dorothy? Will she go into a depression, or will she accept reality and move forward?